So, hello, welcome to another Wednesday webinar for the Climate Emergency Centres, a fun-filled one about funding tonight with some experts from Lush and some very old friends. So we're just doing an intro, been around a few people. Coming over to Catherine Ripley in Essex, just check in, anything about you or your project, briefly, over.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Lovely to be here. I volunteer for Extinction Rebellion. I coordinate their fundraising team. So, yeah, I'm really interested to hear what's said tonight.
Brilliant. Most welcome. Ruth Andrade, you want to just check in yourself? Anything about the project or where you are?
Could you just buy me some headphones?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Hi, I am in a really beautiful permaculture garden now. I'm on holiday today, so I just joined for this call. And I work for Lush with the environmental part that we call Earth Care, also a little bit with the philanthropic part of Lush. And then outside of Lush, I am on the board of two nonprofits, one called Realliance and one called Regenerosity.
Fantastic. Ruth and Hilary are going to be doing sharing info and skills here. Thank you, Ruth, for coming, and Hilary, very much. Over to Vanessa in the Talking Tree in Staines, one of the earliest climate emergency centres. Vanessa, do you want to just check in? I'm going to mute everyone in a sec, just so that we don't get any background noise. And if you need to speak, please unmute yourself. So mute all, and then Vanessa, unmute yourself.
Just thought I had. Hi everybody, yeah, nice to be joining back again. I haven't been joining for a while, just mad busy. Yeah, one of the founders of Talking Tree, been going 3 years now, and yeah, so I've just I just joined. It's a constant fundraising venture, so yes, it's and I think I think Lush might have funded a project for us actually with I'm doing a Swift project, Swift the birds. They're in massive decline the last sort of 20 years, and just doing something around Swift bricks. You can sort of retrofit Swift bricks where they can nest in. Anyway, so thank you, Lush. I haven't seen the email yet, but yeah, so thank you. I'll pass on. Shall I pass on to someone?
Yeah, if you can see, I think Rakesh is next on the screen.
Oh, sorry, you go, yeah.
Yeah, Rakesh, legendary forest man of the first Climate Emergency Centre. Rakesh?
Hi there.
Check in.
Yeah, I'm good. I've just come back from the Green Gathering where I saw you very, very briefly cycling away. Yeah, I work quite internationally, so I set up, I'm a permaculture teacher, designer, I set up many transition towns around the world. Obviously involved in the first Climate Emergency Centre in Goodmays. Do a lot of permaculture projects, a lot of eco-villages. So yeah, involved in a lot of projects, got a lot of really amazing groups, especially keen on looking at decolonializing things like permaculture and transition towns. But let's face it, it still is a very white middle class preoccupation. So how can we really start making it appealing to a broader spectrum of people? So yeah, always, and Lush has already supported me in many of those things, so hugely grateful. Thank you very much. That's me.
Oh, nice one, Rakesh. Coming over to Helen in Leeds. So we've got 29 people, folks. So we're just doing a brief intro yourself, anything about a couple of lines about your project, and name where you are around the country if you can in the 3 dots. Helen.
So Leeds, CEC, XR, anything else that's going. Used to be Frat Free Leeds, did the Lush charity pot. Anyone thinking of doing it? The staff were so well versed, I might as well not been there. They were fabulous. That'll do for me.
Okay, beautiful, Helen. Tim, Sunny Lincoln.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Tim from Earthlinks, the CEC in Lincoln, and we're doing these charity pots next month in Lincoln at Lush. So I've not been sort of setting that up, but yeah, so that sounds good. I don't know what it involves really, but you might tell us later on. Okay, so I'll hand back to Pete.
Over to Adam Rose in Colchester.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm a trustee of the enabling charity called Inform that has opened up the culture to CC. And after much effort, we've got 2 units. Actually, it's quite a big site, but the second one had no electric, so we've just run the electric over to the other side. So we're a fully functioning centre now, and luckily the council picked up the landlord picked up the bill. Even better, we didn't think they would, but yeah, it's ploughing on. Thanks.
Okay, lovely. Over to Eric Hodgson. Just check in where you are. Anything about project? Over.
I'm from the northeast of England in Durham. I don't actually have a project as a community. I actually have a concept which I'm taking to renewable energy businesses who sell solar power, and I can make a big difference in there. So that's my contribution.
Thank you, Eric. Over to Peter, and if you do have any projects, put them in the chat. And if you want to rename Top 3 Dots, let us know where you're around the country. You can link up regionally. Peter, I have to unmute Peter, I think.
Right. Yeah, I'm sort of involved. I'm in Woodbridge, from Woodbridge in Suffolk, and I'm sort of involved with, but not directly responsible for Transition Woodbridge, the Woodbridge Climate Emergency Committee, and they just started a climate centre there. So yeah, I'm just involved with these sort of projects. We're involved with water testing as well at the River Dee, and it's been on the news. Well, even tonight there's been issues about Langley water and sewage dumping and stuff. So
Okay. That's cool.
Okay.
Quite cool. Fantastic. Got a few groups working on water stuff. Over to Art Groupie, where we're making our way through, folks. We're going to start soon. So Alice.
Hello. I'm very pleased to be here. I'm Ant in Bristol. I'm XR UK Arts Chord usually, and usually I don't make it on a Wednesday because that's where I am taking a creative circle. But I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you. Who's next, Phoenix?
Over to Anna in Islington. Climate Centre.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and
Does that
clear.
work? Okay, cool. Hi, very excited to be here. I think my co-founder at Islington Climate Centre, Bale Jacobs, already works with Lush, but be interesting to see what we can do with the community projects. One of the biggest things we're pushing here is climate fresque, which we've carried on doing even when we've been down to a skeleton, and has proved to be very effective. So we're quite pleased with that. Who shall I pass to?
I think Babari Niera. Did I pronounce it right? Babari, do you want to just check in, say hello?
Oh, hi. Yeah, hello. My name is Era Vanabari Theophilus, and I'm the coordinator for Yoruba Women's Foundation from Nigeria. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. We are a grassroots foundation.
This is Friday in Barney.
Keep going, and Barney, someone.
Okay. So we're a grassroots foundation, and we're right in the Niger Delta in Nigeria, Port Harcourt. So we basically help community women that has been ravaged by climate change issues, and then we help them adapt. We help them build resilience and to go through the tough times. Yeah, so we just help them build capacity, teach them how to approach the government, and just find a voice for themselves. So that's what we do. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Big up the Yoruba team. And Barney, Friday, just wanted to do a quick check-in. It's great to see people coming from all around the country and all around the world. And Barney?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And it is an avenue for us to chat the way forward or what we can do together to mitigate the impact of climate change. And not only that, but we all know that climate change is real and what measure can we put in position for adaptation measure. Moreover, presently now we are talking about loss and damages. So I'm happy to hear, and Lush, I'll be so supporting the Ogoni struggle, the Niger Delta struggle. I must say thank you for Lush sponsoring the Niger Delta Climate Change Conference that has on the 10th to 12th of the last month, July. I'm so grateful, and we are all what we can do is to promote the Lush, the charity pot. I also recommend Yaraba Women Foundation and PADIS and other network organizations that work in Niger Delta, who I know they are doing a nice work, but sometimes they have difficulty to accept funding, to accept a grant. You know, sometimes we that are based in local community, it's find also difficult to get access to a funding like Lush. That is why I connect them to be here for this meeting today. Let us see what Lush does and what they can put together like idea and to ensure that they get access to funding. Not only that, but the COP28 is coming up. My last time I visited London, team, and I told them it'd be nice in only Niger Delta delegates that will attend COP28. As I'm telling to you, we have a good news. The good news is 5% have already secured batches accreditation, but we are lacking funding. From the conference that we organized, the Niger Delta conference, we have somebody who donated 5 batches for the delegates. But what we are lacking now is funding that will aid the 5 person that will represent Niger Delta at the conference. What do we have to say at the conference? Why is it so important? Why COP28 is so important for Niger Delta?
Barney.
Oh my God, I got the speaking of the speaking of the speaking, because we are living in the province. We are living in the depth of the province. And the share and other multinational oil company, they don't mind. They keep extracting the wealth. They keep distorting the ecosystem. They keep making us to die in silence. We have to break the silence. I want to thank you once again for organizing this meeting, and I'll be with all of you till the end. Thank you.
Solidarity to Ogoni people and the Yoruba, and big up Ken Saro-Wiwa. Thank you, Mbani. So we come across the last few people. We're going to get started on the knowledge here from Hilary and Ruth from Lush. Who hasn't been? Andrew, Wiltshire Climate Alliance.
Yeah, the clue is in the name. Not good to be here. It's hard to have whip rounds like Zoom meetings. We have crazy lack of funding. I got a side project showing that you can collect food waste by cargo bike, because Wiltshire Council doesn't collect household food waste. 2,000 quid's worth of 23-litre food waste caddies. Where do I get the money? Thank you.
Bless. Coming over to Lara Lewington and Community Climate Action iFarm, Norfolk team.
Hello, thanks very much for the great workshop here. It's great to see you at the Green Gathering as well. Briefly, we ran a workshop on community climate action, CCA. We have a 10-acre farm on the border of Norfolk and Suffolk, and we're helping communities write their climate action plan and hand them on a plate to their local council in whatever context specific setup that is.
Okay, fantastic. Very great to meet you, Lara, the other week. So iPad 2 Chris. Is that Mo? Hello, iPad 2 Chris. Do you want to just check in briefly? Just a few lines. We're going to get started.
Yeah, Chris Lambeth, West Norwood. I was kind of thinking of setting up a climate emergency hub. I had set up some similar things before in Berlin. We were setting up community-led housing up in Newcastle, but then the money disappeared. So now I'm in London. I'm hoping to find a community there and see what we can do.
Brilliant. Well, there's probably a couple more that haven't spoken. Let's try and find out. Linda, are you there? Let me just see if Linda, do you want us to check in? I think there's a couple more.
I'm here. I'm here. I am Phoenix's fellow trustee in this project. So I think that's enough about me. Onward and upward.
Yes, big up, Linda. It's amazing how it's many projects all across the country and internationally. Should we come over to has Adorbu Baradikara been? Adorbu, can you hear us? Quick check in.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Adobu Baridakara and I am the director of NADA for Girls and Women Initiative, the local-based organizations that helps to promote young girls and women. It helps them to let their voice speak, to empower them and for initiative too. And I'm happy to be here, looking forward for a productive section. Thank you.
Fantastic, most welcome. Over to last few and we'll get started. Stephen Black, is that Blackpool? So you have to unmute, Stephen.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Hello everybody. It's lovely to be here. Things are going well in Blackpool. The Climate Emergency Centre in Blackpool is called the Friends of Blackpool on the Files. We had 250 new members this week, so things are going really well. Just happy to connect with everybody.
Perfect. Okay. Welcome, Stephen. Over to Dedham, David. Last couple, I think, and we'll crack on. But this is so powerful to see so many groups from around the world, around the country. Dedham, do you want to just do a quick one-liner, a few liners to just check in? Dedham, David. If anyone hasn't spoken, can they use the reactions thing down the bottom just to raise a hand or put your hand up so I can see you? You can see I've just put a hand up there. Dedham, can you hear us? Anyone who hasn't spoken or just checked in, please raise a hand. Dedham, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello. Where are you around the world or country, Dedham, or anything, a project you're working on? Over. Oh. Okay. We'll move on. We're going to get started soon. Is there anyone else who hasn't spoken? I think there's one person. Is it Barney? Barney Theophilus? Did you check in? And Nazor, did you check in?
Yes.
Barney?
Barry Theophilus. Yes. I've checked in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nazor Anderson, did you check in? Okay, two participants have raised hands. Who's raised hand? Barbari, do you just want to check in and we'll crack on? Yeah. If you unmute, Barbari. You just need to unmute your somewhere on your screen. There'll be unmute. Yeah. Great.
My name is Barbari Ndera. I lead an environmental advocacy platform, the Ogoni Girl Child Initiative for Environmental Restoration. We do our advocacy and we do gender-based advocacy as well. As the girl child, there are a lot of things that we are prevented from. So we lend our voice so that we can be able to have access to what we need to have access to. And we want to promote environmental sustainability and as well help mitigate the deadening effect of climate change on our environment and society as well. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Bless, most welcome. Okay, so without too much further ado, we're going to need to check with Hilary and Ruth if they want to share any slides. Do let me know. And we'll just that's very, very powerful. Just go around the screen and see how many people are spread all across this country and around the world who really want to make some change, get some funding into good projects. Please do add your projects in there. So we'll come over to Hilary and Ruth. We'll probably carry on till 15:15, guys. That took a little while on the check-in, but 33 people, that's pretty impressive. So Hilary or Ruth, do you want to show any slides?
No, we haven't, unless Ruth has anything, but I doubt it because she's on holiday. So I can kick off.
Kick off.
So yeah, as you know, Phoenix. Hi everyone, amazing turnout here and such a spread of people. We haven't done a Swish presentation for you today. We just thought we'd keep it as an informal chat. And I've dragged Ruth along despite the fact that she's on holiday because I'm involved in the charitable giving at Lush, amongst many of my jobs at Lush. But Ruth has much more experience of funding bodies outside of Lush than I do. So she'll be of use to you for that. I can talk about the Lush funding, and it's great to see so many faces here of people that we have funded. But I know that Ruth wants to get off. So I don't know, Ruth, if you want to jump in and just give people a little overview of what else is available. And then I can fill in on Lush stuff if you want to crack on.
Sure. I actually had a couple of ideas. One of them is because with so many people on the call, I think it would also be amazing to have some time to hear about people's experiences and what are like the funding bodies and the funding that you have found. Like, I'd love to hear that. I think I just wanted to I have a couple of links that I wanted to share, but I wear two hats. So within Lush, I'm part of the group that organizes the funding and also helps supports with the strategy of and our funding is changing, and I think Hilary can speak a little bit more about that. And outside of Lush, I also work with mostly regeneration and regenerative projects with grassroots communities that are being affected by climate, also working with climate resilience and protection of forests. So I know how hard it is to fundraise, and then because it's so hard, the organization that I'm part of, we also set up a community of practice for funders to start funding differently. So how can we move towards more trust-based philanthropy and this idea that, like Lush has been doing for a really long time, create more funders that are okay to do low bureaucracy funding. So I wanted to first talk about trust, because I just came from a funders group of funders funding the Amazon, and I think I am also in the funding that I do outside of Lush, really sitting with this concept of trust, and how do you build trust so the relationship between funders and grantees can continue, and that trust has to do with communication, like clear communication. Like as a funder and also as a grantee, I think communication with funders is one of the most important things, even if the funder doesn't request. So for example, at Lush, we don't require a report, but it's so great when you do write our report, so we know what happened, how you use the money, what were the learnings, and that kind of honesty and honesty when things go wrong. And like funders are more and more interested in that. Like, I've received so many reports for funders that is about what went wrong, what did you learn from what went well, what did you learn from what went wrong. So I think focusing on building relationship and following up and being in touch, I think is super important. And I know, like, I also, I have so many people on my WhatsApp, and it's also overwhelming that I receive so many requests from so many people directly. So I mean, keeping in touch through institutional channels, I think, is really important. And then there are more and more funders that are also willing to fund activists or to support activists. And I'm gonna mention a couple of people. Does anyone here know Fund Action from Europe? It was a fund that the decision is made by 200 activists, and they're getting millions now, and big foundations like Porticus Foundations have started putting money into fund action. I can send you a link to everything that I say, but I'll just put here. Fundaction, different people pronounce it in different ways. So I recommend Fundaction. are especially interested in the South, not so much in the UK, but in the places that get the least funding in Europe, but it's still good to know from a network perspective. I think everyone here knows the Edge Fund, UK, that was actually set up by the previous charitable giving manager from Lush. And Edge Fund have the most amazing list of funders. Have you ever seen their list? Has anyone here, have you engaged with that list? I got the link as well. I'll put the link in the chat. And I can speak about some of those funders, but I think
yeah, the Edge Fund we know from the Network for Social Change. They started to put their money into the Edge Fund, I think.
Exactly, but Edge Fund has an incredible list of all the foundations that are supporting social work in the UK. So just going through that list, like if I go through the list with you all, I can give a few names. Like AB are great. They do good trust-based philanthropy. Where are they? Esme Fairbairn, they also do more social work than climate work, but they also fund in a really beautiful way. We have, let me see who else are here. Oh yeah, Lunkley Chase Foundation. I don't know if you have heard, but Lunkley Chase have just decided to spend down. So there is also a movement for foundations to spend down. And they are moving all of their money. They understand that their money was created in ways that have generated oppression in the world. So they're literally going to phase down the foundation and they're going to stop existing. So they have, they're going to go through a big period of distributing their funds in the next few years. It's not on the list, but especially if you're working with journalism, and media and climate, and also decolonial perspectives, I would recommend Bertha Foundation. Does anyone here know Bertha Foundation? Has anyone here got funding from them? So Bertha Foundation do a couple of, I'll put it here. They do a couple of fellowship programs where if you're part of a fellowship program, they will fund you for a year and they will pair an activist with a journalist. And then it's just that they'll do themes. So it will be climate or water or land grabs. And then they fund the journalist, like a grassroots journalist, together with a grassroots activist to tell stories about the issues. So yeah, really, really beautiful, beautiful funds. And I think I heard someone here talk about stories and journalism. I also wanted to ask about the National Lottery Community Fund, because that's pretty easy to get. And all the projects that I heard here that have to do with community spaces, community gathering, bringing the community together, building capacity around renewable energy, up to up to £10,000. It's not very hard to get National Lottery Community Fund. Does anyone here have experience with that?
Yeah, it looks like I'd
love to hear. Yeah. Yeah, if people could share what their experience was and how if they would recommend that to other people.
Does anyone want to share their experience there? It's useful. Short stories. Helen in Leeds.
Yeah, Leeds got 2.5 million to use over 5 years. Wow. It was a very long application. I mean, it was like a book. And it was joining in with several like voluntary action leads and other groups. It wasn't just us, but yeah.
Yeah, Talking Tree
yeah,
got some
it's
money.
It's not the cleanest of money. And how's the process?
I think Vanessa had something to weigh in there. Sorry, Ruth.
Yeah, just so we got funding for our volunteer coordinator. It's about 11,000, I think. Yeah, so that was a while ago. Yeah, I thought it was a really quite a simple process. I didn't think they'd asked too much. Yeah, it wasn't as lengthy as some other ones, I thought. But yeah, it's a good one. They're doing at the moment.
They give away.
Sorry, they're doing at the moment. They've just released their one now, which is energy and climate. So that's sort of what they're giving out for at the moment.
Okay. That's great. Did you get some money off your council for doing public people's assemblies on policy as well?
It wasn't from the council. It's from the local government association. It's to do with the net zero innovation programme. So yeah, we got I think it was around, I can't remember how much it was now, but maybe 12,000 to run it, and to consult the community. And it was a three-way project. It was Open University, our local council, and Talking Tree. So it was to bring the community together to discuss what sort of climate initiatives they'd like to do. So we had like 6 workshops, and then we paid people to come, £20 each to come. And so from that, people wanted to do community food growing and rewilding. So we've now got a site that we're doing community food growing on now. Yeah, so that was from that funding. But the idea was also to sort of change policy. But anyway, I won't go into it too much, but we're still sort of trying to get further in than the climate officer to the council, to sort of get community food growing on the agenda. But yeah, and climate initiatives.
I'll just share the link of because they have a new, and I think they're just announcing their new strategy for the community fund. And it's and I think they're going to start giving up to 20,000, the National Lottery Community Fund.
If anyone's so the reactions bottom down the bottom really helps, where you can put a hand up so we can see who wants to speak. You can wave a hand as well, and we'll try and spot you as well, but you can raise and lower a hand. And short stories really help. Sorry, back to Ruth.
No, just to also say that I heard what Rakesh said about being money from gambling, and this I think is the other challenging aspect of fundraising for me. Where does the money come from? And this is why I've always loved Lush, because I always call it like one of the cleanest philanthropy money. It's like money coming from a company that pays the living wage in the UK, pays a fair tax, pays fair in the supply chain, and distributes the money. But a lot of funding that's there is not super clean, and then it depends. It depends on what your premises is for how you see capital and how you see money at the moment. I'm organizing
Sorry, good point, Ruth. We had someone who was going to do independent fundraising for us a bit for the charity and other things, and they had a big long list of foundations and groups, but I kind of said I don't want to take money from arms dealers, oil, and anyone who's involved with dictatorships and things like that. And suddenly it cut the field down by about 70-80% or something. So yeah, ethical filters. Yeah, and all groups need help to fill out these. We're all at different levels of education and things, and it really helps if there's people who can help you through this process. I think we're going to do a monthly working group Zoom on funding if people want to come along to that, so we can help each other through these processes and people can advise and support, because some of them are easy. Lush is one of the easier forms to fill out, and we've got it as activists over the years, and they really support groups that don't always have a legal entity and activists and stuff, but some of them, like we started the Arts Council one a little while ago, and we've got someone's going to help us, and it's really complex, and there's lots of 8 pages or something. So if we can all help each other, maybe some funding work. Over to Ruth or anyone else.
No, and also I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna try to remember, and then I'll put the link. But there was a website. I think it's called Open Community. I need to. It was set up by a group of people involved with the commons and peer to peer, and they created a way for you to find a fiscal sponsor very easily. So if you have a group and you need a fiscal sponsor, in order to get funding from funders that only fund registered groups, then there was a way to find it. If I don't remember, I'll send that link if I can look
Excuse
for
me,
it while
Ruth,
Hilary's speaking.
Ruth, was it Open Collective?
Yeah, and yeah.
Yes, maybe that was it.
I think it was. I think I contacted him once before.
Yeah.
If anyone
Let
finds
me
these
see
links,
if I
put
can
them in
find the
the chat.
website. Yeah, Open Collective. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And it's a really interesting system where, you know, even if you don't have a registered group, you can still do that. With my charity, we've done fiscal sponsor for a couple of groups. It's then, you know, like I think the other thing is to be on, and I'm not very good at that, and that's why I think it's always important to, in any group, to have someone that is a type A personality and shit hot with like that likes processes and likes organization. I'm not that person. I surround myself with those people. Because again, that building that trust from funders into your project is the most, for me, is the thing that matters most, and the thing that makes the biggest difference to the likelihood of getting repeated funding. I wanted to say one more thing. It was the Open Collective, the National Lottery. Oh, Savitri Trust. I haven't, unfortunately, my main contact there is not very well health-wise, so I don't know if they're still doing it, but they were also really looking into funding activists. Not as much as Fund Action, that almost do like universal basic income for activists. That are I also piloted a couple of projects like this, one in the Amazon with Brazilian indigenous women, and one with permaculturists in Africa. But I think it's something to look into. Savitri Trust. Oh, and then the last one, but I checked their website, and the website is not open anymore. Soberga Foundation. Has anyone here got money from Soberga Foundation? It's run by an amazing heiress of a big fortune, and she's just distributing the money in a really beautiful way with a lot of trust. And people like Soberga or Savitri or Lush, the movement of trust-based philanthropy and the movement of decolonizing philanthropy is big. So unless it's like the Arts Council or, you know, the council or some bigger entity, usually it's okay to say, can I send a audio application? Or, you know, I think there is more and more scope for for supporting neurodiverse applicants, for supporting people that maybe are not, you know, great writers of application. Like, even, I mean, I know Lush is a special case, but with Spring Prize, we received an application written in English, but by an original Arabic speaker. And we said, oh, you know, your application isn't coming across as you intended because of the language. Can you write it in Arabic, and we'll find someone to read it, right? So I think there are more and more funders like this. It's a movement, yeah. And the Bristol, there is going to be the Local Futures, Planet Futures, Local Futures in Bristol event. It's going to be full of funders as well. Just giving you a hint that it's going to be full of funders.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Can someone find the link for that, or in the ones?
I'll find the link.
That's fantastic, Ruth. Absolute, literally a wealth of information. Really, really, really useful there.
Yeah.
I think Ricky's got a question there. Ricky, our old friend from the Indie Media days, over.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, so a couple of those that you mentioned, I think Bertha and Esme Fairbairn, I've taken a look at those in the past, and it seems from the website that they don't accept unsolicited mail or requests or
Oh,
whatever. And I've found that with several that kind of look like they'd be the sort of thing that would fund independent journalism, but there's been no kind of way of contacting them. It seems like they've got to come to you. Any advice on that, or is that just how it is?
yeah. I think I'm probably gonna say something that I will not be able to do, but if you can send me like 2 paragraphs, I think then it's contact. It's just networking, folks. That's what get it. I'll send who said that? Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Ricky.
Ricky from Real Media. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe send me like a couple of paragraphs about the project, and I can send to someone from and at least ask.
That'd be lovely. Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
Brilliant. Really informative, really useful. Keza?
Sorry.
And folks, sorry.
I'm really unfamiliar with this tech thing. Somebody's got their mic on.
Let me mute everyone, and then you have to unmute if you're going to. I'm muting everyone. You have to come back on, Keza. Mute all. Okay, I think I've muted everyone. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, that's better. Man, that was bad in my headset. So I'm dyslexic, so and unfamiliar with this tech. All that information you're putting in the chat, when this Zoom meeting ends, where does it go?
So basically, we make a summary of it, and we can put it into the Telegram chat, or we can email it out to people if you ask us. It's saved, and then we try and make a summary of it. Sometimes it takes a few days or a week or more because we're busy with a lot of stuff. Need some more help on the admin. Over. But yeah, we can send it to you guys. Anybody who wants an update from any Climate Emergency Centre updates or from this, then put your email into the chat, or if you don't want everyone to see it, put it direct message to me and we'll copy it and we will send stuff out to you afterwards. Okay. Does that help, Keza? Yeah, okay. I'm going to, you have to unmute yourself if you want to speak, folks. Ruth, do you want a tail end there? Because I know you might have to go off. And anything you want to say, and then maybe up to Hilary, but it's really, really useful. This is, and I think we're going to do a monthly one, maybe later in September. There's so many good groups came to this. Shows, how Climate Emergency Centre is accelerating the motherships of many projects and alliances. Ruth.
And I think I'll just repeat that. Maybe creating, I share the list from the Edge Fund website, which has tons of funders. But I also think even just creating an open doc that people can add the funders that they have managed to successfully fundraise from. I think the collective as well, because everyone here is doing that. So as long as we're capturing, I think that's really a good way of sharing all the information.
Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, that's very useful. We're just finishing off a busy summer production run, but we're going to do a big upgrade on the communication system so that everyone can share documents in a much better way. So that I think we've already had a grant list of about 20 grants that we've sent out to various people around the network. But if we can all share in one document that's stored somewhere that anyone on the network can have a look at. And help each other with a monthly Zoom on funding, that will really help. And we would love your help more, Ruth and Hilary. Really, really useful to have some people with deep knowledge like yourselves. Really appreciate you coming, Ruth. Bless. So Ruth, over to any more from Ruth or Hilary? Over.
Hills, over to you.
Brilliant.
Okay, over to me.
Thank you, Ruth.
No, Ruth, that's amazing, Ruth. I'm so glad I nagged you about this. She is a wealth of knowledge on this. But to I guess to talk a bit about Lush funding, and like Ruth, I think it would be really interesting to hear, and I know we haven't got much time left, but it would be interesting to hear what your biggest problems are with funding. But from the Lush point of view, very briefly, before we run out of time, I just want to make sure that you've all got the best possible chance of getting funding from us. So as you know, we give grants between sort of £10 and £10,000. They're project based, so you have to apply to us and tell us what it is that you're trying to achieve. Generally speaking, we do not pay wages. What we've always tried to do with Lush is to enable activists and volunteers and people. That doesn't mean that if you're in an organization, you know, like Indie Media, or we get lots of undercover groups coming to us that need equipment and, you know, things like that. So there's all sorts of projects. So it could be you could be an NGO, you could be a public interest, you could be non-registered of anything at all. You could be, you know, 10 people that have gathered together. But what matters is that you tell us your project and explain exactly why you think it needs to be done and why you're doing it particularly. And then a breakdown of the budget, exactly of what you're going to be spending the money on. And like Ruth said, it's about networking. So we always ask for 2 referees. And I think this is especially important for those of you that are on this call from other countries. Obviously, we have to, our funding at Lush, I have to admit to you, is very risky because we're giving to non-registered organizations and because we give to hundreds of organizations every year and hundreds of activist groups. It's not as easy as, you know, companies of our size would normally have one charitable partner and they'd give all their charitable money for that year to this charitable partner, which would usually be a large registered charity. And we've chosen not to do that because we've always thought that it's activists that push the envelope, it's activists that change the world, it's activists that change the conversation. And we'd rather put the money there and be at that edge of people that are doing the real work from their own passion and in their own time. But it does mean that we're giving a lot of money away. There's a lot of due diligence needed. So we rely on those 2 referees, and obviously we're looking at applications day in, day out, and we can see the connections between the groups. So if you put a referee for a group that we already know and fund, that's much easier for us to place in our mind where you sit within the activist world and whether we can trust that it's a genuine project. Because I will say to you now, we get a lot of fraudulent applications. So we do have to be diligent. So I think it's especially hard for things outside of this country, or especially where there isn't much of a Lush shop network. So we don't have those local connections. You know, we know a lot of the activist organizations in Europe, in the UK, in Canada, USA, Australia, Japan, where we have a big presence in all those countries. We don't have a big presence in Africa, so we're not on the ground, our boots aren't on the ground. So we rely very much on the 2 referees that you give us so that we can speak to them and we can see that somebody knows you and your work, that you are real, that your project is going to be real. So those applications to us, I don't think there's anyone on here who probably doesn't have a good case for applying from us. But it's about telling us exactly what you're going to do, exactly what the budget's going to be spent on, why you think the project is important, and those 2 very crucial referees. And we do phone them every single time we contact those referees. So they are an important part of the application, an important part of us feeling confident in your work if we don't already know you. as far as charity pot parties goes, which a few of you mentioned at the start, again, for all of you, especially with these climate centres that you're setting up, if you make contact with your local Lush shop and get to know them, they will run what they call a charity pot party, where they will allocate you, usually a Saturday because it's our busiest day, where all of the sales of the charity pot body lotion, all of the sales of that day goes to you. But more importantly, they'll have you in the shop. You can talk to the customers directly. More of the pot will sell because you're there, and people will want to support you because they'll hear about your work. So that's also another way. And it depends how busy your shops are, but that will only gain you a few £100, but it will also gain you a visibility amongst your locals, you know, standing in a Lush shop all day, talking to customers. We have a lot of footfall. It's really well worth doing. The staff get behind it. And it's also it's often the way into our grants as well, because quite often we have groups that the staff have got to know, held a charity pot party for, and then the staff themselves encourage the group to apply for a proper grant from Charity Pot via the application forms. So for those of you in the UK, USA, Europe, it's always worth making friends with your local shop and trying to see if they're happy to do a party for you one weekend. I'm trying to think what else is really important. Again, I agree with Ruth. People that, so we don't do continuous funding with the charity pot. We'll do 2 or 3 years in a row, but then we ask people to take a break because we don't want people to be reliant on our funding because we don't think it's healthy. And secondly, we're trying to spread our money as widely as possible so that lots and lots of people have access to it. So we didn't want ourselves to be narrowing down to, you know, automatically funding the same groups year after year. So again, it's important to remember that it won't be ongoing funding, but we do have repeat funding. We do have people coming back. And if they've given us a report on how they spent the money the first time, it's much easier for our panels to grant the money again when they can see, you know, photographs or a write-up or some kind of feedback on what that money did the last time and, you know, how it helped or what it achieved. So, yeah.
Hilary, there's a question from Barney Friday there on the chat about, Hilary, thanks for the breakdown of information about how Lush funds, but my concern is about the 2 referees because local organisations find it difficult to get access.
Yes, and that I agree it's a problem, but it just needs to be 2 people that understand your work and can vouch for you. I mean, we have everything from, you know, people that are that have large charities. You know, we have people that know people in Greenpeace or Friends of the Earth or Care for the Wild, or, you know, all sorts of, because we do we fund animals, environment and humans. So we've got 3 strands of funding. So there's a broad range of things we fund. So it could be if you're doing animal stuff, it could be your local vet will vouch for you. You know, if you're doing work locally, it could be that, you know, your local representative, like a member of the council or somebody doing similar work on the ground in your area would know you and would be able to vouch for that work. So it's just a case of, you know, especially if it's another group that is involved in similar work, that can vouch for you, so that we can see that there's a network where you fit in, so that other people on the ground know you and know the work you're doing. It's just something we have to do because, you know, we try and be as bold as we can with this funding, and we do go out on a limb, but there is a limit. You know, we can't just send money to random places with absolutely no checks and balances. And we have the same problem with bank accounts. I mean, we prefer a bank account in the name of an organization and a group. If you haven't got that, then we will accept putting the money into another group that will hand it on to you. So those kind of arrangements are fairly common as well, which, you know, Ruth touched on. So we try and make it as easy as we can. We try not to be bureaucratic. There's always members of the Charity Pot admin team on the end of the phone who will answer your questions, or on the end of emails if you're in the wrong time zone, who can talk you through the complications. I mean, we're there to try and iron out any of the problems, because, you know, we all know how hard it is to get funding, and we don't want to be that organization that where you have to fill in, you know, 600 pages to get a little bit of money. So we've always tried to do things differently. So there's often, like Ruth said about the one that was in a someone filling in a second language, you know, if we can see sometimes budgets don't look good, and we go back and say, come on, this budget doesn't give us enough information to go on before. You know, our admin team are really good. They'll try and go back and forth with people before they submit it to the panel. If they can see something that the panel is automatically going to have to say no because there isn't the information or there's something wrong, they'll try and go back to the group and get it right for them. So you've got this lovely team of people sitting in admin trying to get it right for you. If, you know, if you're dyslexic, if you're doing it in a second language, if you have a problem with numbers, you know, we have all of these things crop up. But, you know, we do have to have a basic standard, because ultimately, you know, we are audited on where our money's gone, because we are a business and we have to prove where our money's gone. So we have to show some due diligence, that we are taking things seriously.
Fair enough, Hilary, that's good. I think Barney wanted to actually put something in there, so I should have said to say something, Barney. Do you want to ask a question there, Barney? And anyone else? You can stick your hand up, but it's easier if you use the reactions button down the bottom. On the bottom of the screen, reactions, raise a hand, then I can see who's 1, 2, 3. So over to Barney 1, then Catherine number 2, and then Dunsil till 3. We're going to go on to about 1:15 because it's a very popular one with 35 of you, and I'm sure you want to hear more. We could go a little bit longer, depends how people have got, but brilliant tonight. And we're going to do a monthly funding one. And Barney, do you want to ask your question over?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Harry. Thank you for a breakdown of the information about how Lush funds or get funding for a project. The challenging I'm having, I also face that challenging until somebody linked me, and I'm gradually moving out from the challenging. When a local-based organization, you know, you people based in UK and in Ogoni, especially in Nigeria, Nigeria is being designed. I have 36 states with a population about 2 million population, and people in the local community are the people that face the direct impact of this gas flaring, oil spillage, climate disaster. There is a community in Niger Delta, about 4 communities in Niger Delta, where people have to pack out because of pollution. Everybody have to pack out from that community. We call them climate refugee. In that kind of situation where a local organization want to help, maybe like all these women-led organization or you-led organization, they want to help, but they don't have access to funding. When I come across Lush were giving a criteria of 2 referee. I say, wow, where can I get reference from? I've been writing, who should I know? I don't know anybody I can write reference to. And Lush does not have a branch in Africa. The very day I came to Lush office in UK, I make it like a pleading. I wish that you have an office in Nigeria or in Africa country. I beg, I want to plead to the Lush, you supposed to try and get an office. We are ready to open up and work with all of you because we are the ones facing the problem. The shoe we are wearing, we know the way it's paining us. One of my guys always say, if anybody destroy your environment, that means that person is destroying your life. So I'll be so happy if they can waive out or they can create a mediums of helping the local, how to reach the local community. The last time I received grants from Lush, I'm happy for that. They gave me a link that I can nominate organization. I don't know, that is the reference they're talking about, which I did, but they are using the same proposal to you people. Thank you. Let me pause for now.
Thank you, and Barney. Thank you. Beautiful, bless. Thank you. Do you want it, Catherine, then Dumsil?
Hello,
Yeah,
Barney.
any of these? Catherine?
Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering what criteria the panel use when they're making decisions on who to grant funding to on the applications.
It really depends what's in front of them. I mean, it's judged against the rest that have come in that month, basically. So you know, it depends on how strong the competition is. It depends how many things in that. So, you know, I'm going to use an animal example here. You know, if we fund a bat project, I use this as an example because it's something that's a real example. We funded a bat survey from a group that applied. Then every bat group in Britain applied. And of course, they're not all going to get funding from us because we don't just want to spend all our money on bat surveys. But of course, it's inevitable because it's word of mouth. You know, one bat group tells another bat group that they've just had their survey funded by us. And you know, and I understand why we were inundated. It was like an attack of bats. And I totally get it because it's probably seriously underfunded. But as you can imagine, none of those groups were any more worthy than the other, but we can't fund them all. So it's not a nice situation to sit in as a funder because you always want to fund everything and the money isn't there to fund everything. So everything has to be balanced. So as I said, it could be that we've already funded several things that month that are working on a similar thing. It could be that, you know, that simply that the project wasn't as strong as others in around that funding cycle. Because we try and spend the money as quickly as we can. So, you know, this is, you know, it's a body lotion. It sells in our shop. We don't take any of the money out. You know, it all gets passed on. So the first thing the panel asks when they sit with those funding applications is how much money have we got to spend this time? So, you know, there's all these different things that play in. So, you know, please, if any of you have been turned down, please don't take it personally, because there's 1,000,001 reasons that have got nothing to do with your work that could have fed into why we couldn't fund you that time. And we do occasionally get people freaking out on us, and really, you know, when people pour their hearts into their work and it's all their spare time, it's all their spare money, it's, you know, all the worry they have about the world, and suddenly they get a funder say no, and it feels like a personal judgment, but it never is. I can assure everyone. It's just that, you know, we wish we had more money that we could do this with, and we try and spread it as far as we can, you know, which is also why often we don't give the full amount that people ask. And we always say on the application form, could you still do this project with part funding? Because sometimes we're just trying to spread the money we have in the bank account at the moment as widely as we can. So I don't know if that answers your question to some degree.
That's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Hilary, can I say something? Sorry.
Sorry, I can't see that.
Oh, it's Ruth.
Ruth, yeah, go for it. Sorry.
I put my hand up. I think also it's worth saying that I think with any funding, it's, you know, like it's the same as you're applying for a job. It's like really read the guidelines carefully. And I think Lush has we've been trying to like simplifying the guidelines, but really read the guidelines, write the application, read the guidelines again, to make sure that you really eliminate any chances that the people on the panel going, but you know, but they ask money for this and we usually don't fund that. So just double check the guidelines. I think it's important. And then the second thing that I was going to say as well is because of what Hilary was saying, sometimes if it's a month with slow sales and we've had to, and we got too many applications, you may have been turned down for no other reason than there wasn't enough money. So if you feel like you have a strong, application that matches the guidelines, then apply again after a few months. I think that's another advice. It may be that it was just because we haven't received enough money. And for example, after Christmas, there is more money. So like January, February, that's a good time. Anyway, that's it.
That's great, Ruth. I'm just going to chuck a little tip in here and then over to Dum and then Banabari. What we've done over many years of trying to apply funding is we've done it easier to apply for grants like Lush. Basically, I see Lush, there's about 6 main questions that you have to answer. Kind of, who are you? What is your group? How are you going to do it? What's your plan over the next year to make that happen? And then what would you spend this amount of money on? And I've always seen it as a kind of essay you have to write with these 6 main questions. And what we've done over these is once you've got a template with a Lush one, because it's a simpler one to do, you then use that as a template to go to the next charities and fundraisers and fill out their grants. And you often find there's similar questions. What is your group? How are you set up? How are you going to do this? So you can copy some from the Lush one into the new one and edit it a bit. Hope that helps some people. We're going to do a monthly Zoom for the CEC network to help with funding and help each other. Over to Dum next, over. Dum Sil.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Where are you in the world, Dum?
Okay, I'm calling from Ogonian land. I was recommended by Friday to come to this platform. I'm excited. It's happy to hear all what you've said. And it's good to know that there are people somewhere actually making effort for things happening in different parts of the world. I'm from Ogoni, like Friday, and for some time I've been doing a project trying to raise young people to use art, for activism, and then to see how we can scale up knowledge and awareness, because we need to find a way of actually getting people in the communities to get involved in what we are doing, not just in terms of one-off trainings, but teach them skills that they can actually scale up.
Yeah, so
Hello?
Sorry, keep going. I'm just going to mute everyone. There's someone coming in there.
Okay, so to teach young persons to actually get involved in learning skills, finding a way to use art for awareness, for the campaigns, for spreading the messages in terms of pictures, short mobile documentaries, and all those. So Friday told me about this webinar today, and I'm excited. My question is, like Friday said earlier, it's pretty difficult getting to volunteers, but I understand that, from what you said, I understand that it is necessary because there needs to be a little check. You need to be sure of the money you are giving out and how it is being spent. So the other thing I wanted to ask was, what if someone has done, if they show proof of what they've done before, because sometimes there have been some personal efforts on things like this to actually create the awareness and then to push out the messages and to get people involved. When you're from a polluted area like Ogoni, you actually understand what we are talking about. It's not something we can adequately describe in words, but when you're from a place like that, you see the need to push more, to put more energy on people getting to know what they stand to lose, to see the harm they face in the environment, and the need for them to not just know what it is, but to get involved in talking about this. So that's what we do. We use art, and we use a bit of music, we use painting, we use spoken word poetry, and then we use short documentaries on mobile phones to push these messages. And it's so exciting to know that you guys are doing what you are doing, because you could have been using this to make money, but you've decided to pursue courses in different parts of the world. And I'm grateful for what you're doing. And I'm grateful to Friday too for bringing me here today. Thank you.
Bless up. Thank you, Dum. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I would say that we're very aware as a company that we don't have a presence in Africa. And we try very, very hard to say yes to applications that come in. So, please give us every reason to say yes if any of you are going to apply. As I said, strong referees, strong project descriptions will really help with that, so that we can verify who you are and understand what you're doing. And yes, we do fund those kind of outreach things as well. We know that different countries are at different stages of spreading messages. We know that different countries are at different stages of climate impact. You know, we know that we're very protected from it here in Britain at the moment, and that the rest of you are probably living with much more of the impacts, and the funding is really needed to be with you. So we really wish to get it there. So it's great to see so many people from so many different countries, and please, you know, do all you can to apply from us, because we are sitting here knowing that we need to put more funding into your countries.
Beautiful, thank you, Hilary. Arabanabari?
Yeah, hello, this is, been a very interesting discussion. I think Hilary just spoke a little bit on what I wanted to, ask about, how open is Lush to get involved with new organizations? Because sometimes we are relatively not new to the struggle, but then when we see specific problems and then we try to solve them, that's why we try to go out for funding and see how we can meet some of these specific needs and drive our passion further. So I just wanted to ask, Hilary spoke about strong referees and all of that, because you know how skeptical people can get. They're like, oh, show us, your work. And you're like, okay, we don't have much to show. And then they're like, okay, are you guys real or not? So yeah, a lot of us are real, with real passion, trying to make a change as little as we can. So Lush, please be open to, work with new organizations to say, yeah. So that's just what I wanted to chip in. Thank you.
Completely agree. Yeah, we do fund a lot of new organizations, but as you said, it's harder because you may not have an established network already. But again, just keep in touch with us, keep sending us information. It may be picking up the phone and speaking to our team and talking about your application before it goes to the panels. All of those things will help. And if you know any other groups that you've worked with previously that can vouch for you, that helps. We always look at the website and the social media of groups before we even read the application. We will check out your website and your social media accounts to see if they look active and to see what you're doing and to see how you're communicating. So all of that, the panel will have looked at before they even open the application. So again, sort of having that presence really helps.
That's fantastic. Really, really useful info throughout. I think Ruth's had to beam out. We're at about 1:15. We usually stick close to the hour, but this is a really popular and important one. Thank you very much to Ruth, and thank you very much to Hilary. Really, really important work you're doing. You have supported so many grassroots change makers in so many projects. I went to the Lush conference they had maybe five years ago on one of them, and it was packed with everyone. And I mean, like 80% of the active groups I knew in the UK who were doing various things with direct action, with community, with the environment, with social things, were there, and they had a stand and they had a stall in 6 different areas, and it was phenomenal, from disabled people against cuts to climate groups to environment groups, social groups. Lush is making a massive difference. So thank you, Hilary and Wes, for your long-term support and long-term friendship, and to Hilary. Really useful one tonight. I don't know how to wind up the tail end. If we haven't got your email, give us your email in the chat, direct message. We might just go around the screen for a quick, just a few words, just what you thought about tonight, literally 2 or 3 or 4 words. I thought it was fantastic, inspiring, and we are going to have a monthly Climate Emergency Centre funding Zoom that we will all help each other through this process. So if you're interested in that, do email us at climatec@gmail.com, or we'll email you out if we've got an email. Passing along the screen, just for a quick checkout, just a few words. Over to Jenny in sunny Norwich, North Sea.
Lovely to hear it's less bureaucratic. Thank you. Whoever's next.
Tim on my screen.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Fantastic. Great Zoom as ever.
Lara, Suffolk.
Yep, really inspiring. Lovely to hear and see the networks growing. Thank you.
Beautiful. Keza. Big up the old St George's team, Circle Community Centre, 2010.
Yeah, we could get funding for those Wednesday talking circles. How that would change life in East Lancashire. Yeah, just a really beautiful sense of connection and seeing people from all around the world is absolutely amazing. Thank you, everyone. Lots of food for thought there. Thank you.
Bless. From East Lancashire to Preston, Debs.
Thank you, Lush, because I know how much you've contributed to so many great causes and supported so many great activists. I know you supported the nanas and you even had a shower gel or something for the nanas, weren't it? It's great. Thank you.
Stephen in Blackpool. We got the nanas. Stephen, are you with us? We want to come up to sunny Blackpool for you might be able to sort us out. Are you with us for a quick check out, Stephen? Okay. Gonna hop over then to Morgana, possibly Glastonbury or Bristol way. Over.
Hey, in Glastonbury today. Thanks so much, Phoenix and team and Lush. Really inspiring. I will definitely be applying. Thank you so much. Shall I pass over to someone? Philip, did you go?
Thanks very much, Morgana. Yes, wish I'd come to this before I'd filled in a 36-page application. I'd have much rather gone to Lush. Thanks, it's so interesting and it's so brilliant to see everyone else, and I'll pass on to Lara.
Thanks, I've been already. I'll pass on back to Phoenix to go along the screen. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, it's nice when you pass to each other. I like that, but sometimes it comes with see. So Nazor, a quick check out, Nazor. Just saying a few lines, saying goodbye. Have to unmute Nazor if you can. Nazor, can you hear us? You need to unmute. Okay. We'll come over to Burabari. If you want to check out, just say goodbye. Anything about over? Burabari.
So nice to be here, Lush. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Keep it up. Thank you.
Okay. Coming over to Best Car, Elena Bardi. Unmute, Best. Can you hear you? Best, can you hear me? Can you unmute and say something if you can?
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Best. Over to Comfort.
Lush, I must say you're doing a very good job. Thanks for the insights. Thanks for the insights. So grateful. It's really an exciting moment with you. We hope to do more with you. Thank you. Let me pass on to someone else. I'm passing to Lincoln.
Lincoln. Phil, Lincoln been? Phil, Lincoln, have you been? Oh, Tim Lincoln, sorry. Tim, you've been, haven't you? Come over to Adam in Colchester. You people beaming out now.
Yeah, it's invaluable time spent learning about funding because it's a lot of other disciplines filling in the applications that are useful, thinking processes and what you want to do with the organization and if you really want to do this project over another. So your time looks like you're in your van. Your time helping set this up, Phoenix, invaluable. And it'd be great if we can get you some more admin to help, make this happen monthly.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, we always need help with admin support, and we will be putting a monthly funding Zoom together on a certain day. Please come along and help each other. Those more advanced, help those get a leg up. Chris.
Yeah, thought it was great. Got a whole lot of new links, and looking forward to meeting some people over there.
Lovely. Over to Andrew, Wiltshire Climate Alliance.
Yes, thank you. Very useful and very revealing of some of the problems you guys have at Lush. You're clearly not just an artificial intelligence with a checkbook. Thanks for sharing.
Beautiful. We're going to chuckle there. Art groupie is Ant now.
Yeah, thanks, Venus. This is an absolutely brilliant idea. And I'm so glad to see the climate justice crew here. And I'm really glad that if Friday can come to Bristol, that'd be amazing. And I'm also really, really happy that there is a huge drive at the moment to redirect funding to where it's needed at the grassroots. And in the National Intelligence Agency report from America, the fourth scenario, and the one I'm going for, is where climate activists and NGOs join up and actually do change something. So this is all absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.
All right. I'd like to hop over to Linda now, if she's still with us, because it's actually Linda who helped to pull this together as well. She does a lot with the Space Generates Charity in the Climate Emergency Centre relentlessly. So Linda, parting goodbye. Thank you so much for all your inspiration and coaching to get this together. Over to Linda.
Thank you. We'll be having the other one, our next one soon. We'll maybe even try to fill in the blanks on one or two of the forms together. That might help. So once you get comfortable with one, like you said, then the others are much easier. All right, all. Thank you, Hilary. Thank you, Ruth. I know you're gone, but thank you.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for your time. Phoenix, it would be great to get this chat copied across in an email. I've been trying to copy it frantically and failing.
The chat I will save and I'll email it to you afterwards along with the video thing shortly, and then I'll put it up on YouTube later. Thanks to Linda for all the sage advice. Last few people coming over to Burabari to say goodbye. Check out. Need to unmute. Yeah. I don't think we can quite hear you, Burabari, sorry. But I feel you, Feel your energy. Okay. Dumsil?
Hey, thanks, Lucius. I was so happy to have been here today. Keep the spirit up and let's keep moving. Thank you so much. It was an awesome time.
Bless. Big up Leogoni, the Yoruba and all that Nigeria team. Adobu?
Hi, thanks everyone for a great productive section. Looking forward for more frequent meetings like this. Thank you.
Beautiful. Big up the Evo as well as the Yoruba and the Leogoni years ago in Oxford. Big up Ken Sarawiwa. Nwadawa charity last year. Nwadawa, can you hear us? Quick say goodbyes.
Now, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the information. The meeting was impactful, and personally, I'm new to the platform, and I love the fact so many information was passed. I want to say thank you to everyone. I want to say thank you to Lush for the funding and everything. I said Thank you. It was an amazing time spending with everyone. Thank you so much. I pass to someone else.
Bless. I think last three, we've got Era Banabari, Theophilus, have you been?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've said my goodbyes. Lush, thank you. Thank you for the great work. Please keep it up. We're happy to be here, and we're happy to, doing great things together in the future. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
last one, I think. Thank you. And Barney, lovely. Thank you for the big turnout from the from Africa and Nigeria team.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Fino. Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy. And I must give a special appreciation to Lush. I believe their impact is being witnessed in Ogoni, in Niger Delta. I will continue to collaborate and partner together to ensure we have environmental justice. And not only that, but to restore the environment where a local people can begin to regain their livelihood support as usual. I mostly say thank you, everybody. Before I hand over the microphone to another person, I will also play and like a kind of soliciting, asking Lush to sponsor the Ogoni delegates that are going to attend COP28. As I'm speaking to you, like I say, we have batch already, somebody that attended the conference. The conference was sponsored by Lush also with other people, and a man came and donated 5 batches. But as it stands now, we are just seeking for funding that can support the 5% to the COP28, where our issue can be presented with those people getting access to those Nigerian negotiators. In the conference we did, we invite Nigerian negotiators, but they do not come. So like they don't want to come to the local community. That will be an avenue where we can get access to them and talk to them direct what the local people are passing through. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm happy to have all of you. And let's be having a meeting like this monthly or quarterly. Thank you.
Beautiful, Mbani, always. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much to Hilary and to Ruth. Thank you very much for coming. We'll be in touch about the regular helping each other get funding circle kind of thing together. Thank you very much for an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half of your very precious time. Hilary, big up you and Wes for all the great work you've been doing for decades, man. That like, know that you've changed the world.
So have
many
you,
good
Felix,
groups.
so have you. And all of you, all of you.
Everyone. You're all change makers. Doing it. All right, take care, guys. Set up a climate emergency centre near you. Let's get an alliance of people together and change the world. Keep going. Keep networking solutions. Big love. Take care. See you next week.
Yeah,
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. It was nice meeting you. Bye, everyone.